It's not an easy feat to deliver a project when the collective masses put you on a pedestal. At least that's what I have been doing ever since I discovered this genius and amazingly talented filmmaker Lijo Jose Pellissery through his cinematic marvel Jallikattu. But sometimes greatness also comes with a certain degree of burden. Some completely crumble in that greatness, but those who don't give us a film like Malaikottai Vaaliban. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and I hope you all are doing well. Now I have actively avoided watching or reading any kind of review ever since this film came out except one which is on Instagram, but that was also a non-spoiler one. And that review also wasn't a very positive one. But from the comments that I have read on my own channel as well as the DMs that I have received, the views have been quite mixed and that eventually piqued my interest even more for watching this film. And I thought to myself, this is what LJP does the best, create chaos. But this time the chaos was not just restricted to his film, it also spilled over onto the audience. Now before I get into my thoughts on why I found this film so interesting, there was one particular aspect that was hampering my viewing experience considering I am someone who does not know the language. It is the subtitle work. In some instances the subtitles were completely out of sync, and in certain other instances it was not even there. That is literally the last thing that I expected to go wrong. It kind of reminded me the subtitle work which was done with so much finesse in a film like Hridayam, where it was able to convey the emotions so beautifully. That's it. That was the only thing while watching the film that I was disappointed with. Now let's come to the film itself, and I want to start with the technical aspects rather than the story because there is a lot to talk about the storyline. I mean, a lot of people would definitely talk about the visuals, which is obvious. I want to first and foremost talk about the sound design. I legit want to salute everybody who was involved in the sound design of this film because my oh my, it is not just a visual experience for the viewers, it's definitely an auditory experience also. Basis the audio, you get to precisely understand the exact distance that the subject matter is in. If the subject is far off, the sound echoes completely, and even the range of echo is different. If the subject is nearby, the decibel changes, and when nearby also, depending upon the distance the decibel is changing. It is so freaking precise. The score is a different ballgame altogether and it is tailor-made to fit the narrative. I'll exactly explain what I mean by that when I come to the story part of the video. Now coming to the visuals, this movie is probably the most visually immersive LJP film that I've watched. In fact, Churuli was the most immersive experience that I had while watching a Lijo Jose Pellissery film when I specifically talk about cinematography. But when it comes to this particular film, I don't think I'll be able to justify how beautiful and stunning the visuals are in a mere sentence. From the moment the movie starts, it's a cinematography marvel. I mean, you have to sit in the theater and watch it for yourself and believe it. Like, I am not even over exaggerating here. Color grading is fabulous. I mean, this is something I constantly kept saying when I reacted to the trailer as well. The whole movie just feels unreal from a visual standpoint. Now there are multiple slow-mo shots when it comes to the action, and I thought that it has been deliberately put like that because some of the action is just bizarre, especially the one with the multiple cannon thing. I mean, that's a huge action block which happens in the second half. I don't think there was any other way that you could show that action set piece because it had to look artsy, it had to look gory, it had to look chaotic, and it needed to have a dash of black humor into it. And when you watch the film, you know that each of these frames have been very well thought out. Like, there is so much symmetry and artistic value in all of these frames, even though the scene is like completely chaotic, and there are pauses between these slow-mo shots. Now from an editing standpoint, I know for a fact that a lot of people will have mixed opinions here, like North Pole and South Pole kind of opinions, because the edit and the pace of the film, along with the narrative, largely decides how the audience is going to receive the movie. And here comes the major divide and probably the disappointment that a large amount of audience felt. And I completely understand, because when you look at the trailer, you feel that it is going to be an epic action saga with probably a dash of humor into it and a little bit of brain teaser. And since Lijo Jose Pellissery is a master of chaos, so a lot of people expected that chaos to happen in this movie. And the chaos happens, but not in the way that probably a lot of people expected. Which is why the editing is very interesting to me. Because when you intricately observe the edit, it's very haphazard. Still, there is a certain flow to it. Now, the movie is structured and edited out in such a way. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it reminded me of the adventures of Sindbad. If you have read that story, it is divided into 7 different voyages that Sindbad is essentially narrating. Here also, the movie is actually structured in a voyage-like saga. And you might as well title this movie as The Adventures of Malaikottai Vaaliban. Here you can say that his voyage is divided into 5 major chapters, and each voyage or each chapter gives you a certain kind of a lesson. The 5th part or the 5th chapter of Vaaliban's voyage is essentially the building block of the second Malaikottai Vaaliban. That was teased in the end of the film that there is going to be a sequel. With every passing chapter, the stakes keep getting higher, just like in the adventures of Sindbad. I swear, I am not even kidding you, that story just kept ringing in my mind when I was watching this film. Which is why I feel that the edit was extremely interesting. Now, when it comes to the pacing, yes, it is a slow burn, but it actually gives you a very immersive experience, and definitely it is not for everyone, which is totally fine, because a movie loving and viewing is a very personal and subjective experience. Now, I want to talk about the story and the way Lijo Jose Pellissery directed this film, because it felt to me when I was watching the film is that I am sitting in a time capsule and I am literally time traveling. Remember when I said at the beginning that the BGM was an entirely different ballgame altogether? What I meant was that the way the story moves forward and the way the BGM has been created, you feel that you are going forward from the ancient to the modern era. I don't know how else to explain it, but it is exactly how I felt. There could be a different take on the BGM. If you have a different take, please let me know in the comments. LJP structured the film into different chapters, and whenever you are sort of reading or watching the new chapter, it feels that you have taken a time jump and moved forward. So even though you might feel a little bit disconnected from Vaaliban's story, by the end of the 3rd act or the 4th chapter, I might add, there is a brilliant twist to Vaaliban's origin story. That was such a fantastic twist, because you will not even foresee it that okay, something like this could happen, and it kind of forms a very strong narrative basis for the second part of this film. So you might think that the movie looks very disorganized and disconnected, but then it all comes in together in the end, because I kept thinking, how is LJP going to conclude this movie? And the way he concluded it, I was extremely satisfied with the ending. Also, when you kind of realize the subtext of the film, on the surface you might think that okay, this is a story of a nomad warrior who just feels very displaced, but he has a lot of integrity within him and he's just battling from one place to another. So one might think, okay, what is the point of this? But what I took out from it is that it kind of gives you the whole human experience, that how as a person you can do everything right, you can be like the most principled, righteous person on this planet, and yet you as a person are never ever immune to deceit, jealousy, backstabbing, and enmity. So you might personally not have ill will for anybody in this world, but people might perceive your actions otherwise. There is also this underlying theme of existential crisis throughout this film that Vaaliban feels. And I think in this world, a lot of us feel like that at some point of time, that why are we even here? What are we even doing with our lives? These are like really big questions that do not have a definitive answer. Now, this is just my take, because I was watching this movie at a very human level, that okay, this is a movie about a nomad and it is just showing us different human experiences and emotions that one might go through in their lives. But if you have a different take on it, please let me know in the comments. When it comes to performances, Mohanlal absolutely killed it. You could see that he surrendered to Lijo Jose Pellissery's vision completely. But the surprise package for me in this film was Danish Seth. And to be very honest, I did not recognize the guy till the time he actually shaved half of his head. I did not know it was him. He was just fantastic in this film. I did not expect such a performance out of him. Rest of the cast, I would say they were decent. I'm not gonna say, oh, my mind was blown away, but it was only Mohanlal and Danish Seth that were complete standouts. You know, the range of emotions that Vaaliban as a character goes through, Mohanlal is just so effortless in portraying all of that. I think personally, I love Mohanlal the best when he acts with that kind of restraint, be it in a movie like Drishyam or his recent release Nere or even this one. When his eyes do the talking, that's when the magic comes out. Now, before I sign off from this review, I just wanted to point out a little bit about the action set pieces where the hand-to-hand combat, in my personal opinion, were not edited out properly. There are a lot of scenes with the actors flipping around and jumping, and it just did not look natural. Like, you could see that there is a harness attached to them, and the edit was very obvious in showing that. Now, I do not know if that was deliberate or not, but it felt a little bit odd. Let me know if you felt the same or not. Now, in the end, I totally feel that this movie is certainly a little bit ahead of its time, because one might argue that no, a movie like this is not made for the theaters and it should just release in OTT. I would like to respectfully disagree, because movies like this, whether you like it or not like it, give you a very different experience and something to really talk about. There are times where movies need to tickle our brain. Every time it does not need to desensitize us. And I'm very happy to see that a director like Lijo Jose Pellissery, even after getting a good chunk of budget in his hands, he did not conform to the norm, which is why as a cinephile, he will always have my utmost respect. So yes, probably Malaikottai Vaaliban is not everybody's cup of tea, but it is definitely that weird cocktail that you might want to give a try because it looks so interesting. And you never know, you might end up discovering a new taste altogether. And on that note, I would end my review here. I don't even know how long this video has become. Like, I'll find out when I edit it out, but hope you guys enjoyed watching it and have come till the end. I will see you soon on my next video now. Bye!